We'll be starting here in about 10 to 12 minutes. Still waiting on some people to show up. Just please sign into the Today Meet chat session. I've had a couple people, Lindsay and H. Hale, sign in. So please sign in, and that way I can see who's there. And if you got any questions, you can chat with me there. We'll start here in about 10 minutes. If you've not logged into the chat, please do. Please introduce yourself so I know who I'm talking to, and that way you can ask me questions at any point using the chat function. The link there is on the front page. And we'll be starting here around 10 minutes. Thank you. We'll start here in a couple of minutes. I know that I have a few more people who've signed up, so let's give them a chance to get logged in here. I know it's 9 o'clock, but we'll give them a couple more minutes. If you have not signed into the chat, please do so. Um, let's give them a couple more minutes. Thank you. So while we're waiting, if you've signed in the chat, could you let me know that you can hear me? I would appreciate just log in and say, yes, you can hear me fine. Let me know. Okay. Thanks, Lindsay. Everybody else okay? We'll still give everybody a couple minutes here. Start about 5 after. All right, we'll start here in about 2 more minutes. Glad anybody else sign in who needs to. If you've not signed into the chat, please do so. The link is there on the front page. I know that I've heard from Lindsay, Melanie, and Mr. Hales. So if you've not signed in, please sign in the chat. Let me know you're here. Good. I've got Carrie who signed in. Melanie said you cannot hear me. Can you hear me now, Melanie? I feel like I'm like that old AT&T commercial, whichever it was. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? But let's try to make sure everybody can hear me before we start in. So go ahead and log into the chat. If you haven't done so, let me know if you can hear me. We'll start here in another minute. We've got about half the people that have signed up showed up here. Okay. Thank you, Patrice. Alrighty, it's 5 after. Let's go ahead and get started here. My name is Jason Whited, and I'm an instructional technology consultant in the College of Education at East Carolina University. And welcome to my first evening professional development. I'm going to apologize right now. I'm using a laptop versus my computer in my office, which I have 3 monitors and makes it a lot easier. So this is a little different for me, but we'll get through this. I hope so. I've been in the College of Education now over 2 years. I'm an alumni of Ohio University, not a pirate, but I'm enjoying my time here. We are offering this PD to you teachers out there because we know that you guys need it, and there's a need for it. And at the College of Education, we're trying to connect with our PK through 12 partners out there and let them know what's going on in technology and everything. There's a survey at the end that I hope you'll take. If you like, you have to take it if you want to get a CE for this. If you do 10 sessions, whether they're 10 of my sessions or 10 of Holly sessions or some of my sessions or some of Dan's sessions or Holly sessions, once you get 10, you just need to email us and we'll look over and make sure that you've filled out the registrations and you've attended all 10 sessions. And then we'll have the Office of Teacher Education assign a technology CEU for you. So again, it's very important that you fill out that survey at the end. There's some general information that you'll need to fill out about who you are, your email, that kind of stuff. But then there's some questions about kind of what kind of PD you would like to see, and then some stuff, a couple questions about the session tonight. So again, let me welcome you to flipping the lesson. I think that we all kind of heard about it. It's that kind of it's been around for a few years now. Still a hot topic in education. I'm a big proponent of it. I love it. I got introduced to flipping the lesson when I was at Craven Community College in Craven County. I was working on a manufacturing grant down there, and we started to flip the lesson for the composite labs. And it worked out really, really well with them because what they could do is the lab instructor could flip his lessons. We actually filmed the lesson versus like screencasting, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. But he would film the lesson, so when his students came in for their weekend labs, they were ready. They'd seen the lab, and then he would just have to go quick overview, and he could get more labs done on a weekend, and they were a lot better performance because the students were better prepared because they could watch the video. And that's how I got into flipped lesson. So again, please let me know if you can hear me if you're new. There is a chat window, as you see the link down there, to today's meet, and I'm using that as a chat. Please log in there. Maybe tell me something about yourself real quick. But that's also the best way to communicate with me now. So I hope you can hear me. Just go ahead and log in there. I've gotten Carrie's already, Lindsay, Melanie, Mr. Hales, they're all there. But go ahead and log in, and we're going to go ahead and get started here. Now, I'm also do the Google presentation, so I'm using Google Slides here. I do the Google training for our office, and so I've sent you the link to it, and I love the ability that I can see you all in their Google Slides. I can see, well, I don't know who exactly is in there, but I do see that, well, there's Patricia, she's in there, but I see an anonymous turtle, wolf, squirrel, monkey, lemur. So I know you're in there and you're looking at the presentation too, but feel free to download it so you have it. There's some, some information there, but there's some videos. We won't see all the videos that I'll show you tonight, but I'm going to see some of them. And I like this ability to collaborate with it and share these with you people. So I'm gonna get started. So what is flipping the lesson? Flipping the lesson, the easy answer to flipping the lesson is where the instructor transfers their lectures to the internet. Students can watch videos of lectures prior to coming to class, the theories at home, and the tasks from their classroom. This is the major component of the idea of flipping the classroom, but not the only option. I mean, some people are looking at, they take the flipping lesson, yeah, they put it on the internet, they do that. But then another option with it too is that you can give CD-ROMs out, DVDs, DVDs, I'm dating myself there, but you can give it to students that might not have internet capability, so that if your lessons are recorded by a video, you can give it to them so they can take them home, watch them on a device, and do them. And it's a strong way to get a point across. Because one of the biggest things about video that I like is that you can watch it over and over again, stop and watch a component. And this allows the students to have actual control of their learning and watch it. So like during any time during this, if you have any questions, shoot me a question on today's meet, the chat option, and I'll answer it. There might be a slight lag here, and I apologize for that. I'm literally sitting over my modem, so I'm hoping it's working. But if not, I'll get back to you. So why do you want to flip a lesson? As my Are your students struggling with their homework or lessons? Do you feel you need to work more closely with your students, work on group projects that need more personal attention? Are you running out of time in your class? Are you looking to consolidate class time to better make use of lab time? Want to prepare students for an upcoming topic or reinforce a current one? I know I'm reading the slide, but I just wanted to reinforce those. Those are some of the reasons you could be looking to flipping your lesson. Remember that video gives your students the ability to view content at their own pace. They can pause and rewind the videos at their leisure. They can also get an expert view that might differ from yours. So you can introduce a different voice into your classroom and give that out there. The students can watch that video and then come into classroom and discuss it. There are opportunities that do not have in a regular classroom. Now, when people do this, I remember when I was in high school and I had problems with math and anything like that. I didn't have Khan Academy. I'm really dating myself there. To go and look at stuff, I might pick up the phone with the long cord off the wall and call my buddy and say, hey, do you understand problem 3, and try to figure it out ourselves. Or maybe if, walk up the street and talk to my neighbor and we try to figure this stuff out. And we don't have that. And what's nice about flipping a lesson and putting that ability there is you can now record videos. There's so many different softwares out there. I'm only going to give you a slight taste of what you can do. And you can give that stuff out there that students can watch it and learn it. They can see it over and over again, whether it be math, whether it be English. You can talk about, a movie clip that you can put out there and you put comment to it. And you can show your students this. So when they come into class, they've already done the reading, they've done the lecture part. So then they can talk about it. And then you can see if they have mastery of it. So you can sit there and say, hey, okay, they might already have their questions. Okay, I didn't understand question 3, or I didn't understand this part of the video clip. Can you help me explain it? And it might not just be them. It might be like 2 or 3 or 4 might say, yeah, I had the same problem. And by doing it this way, and you might even put some assessment with it before they even come to class and see where they're at when they come into class. They can say, wait a minute, hey, okay, like you have a class of 20 and 6 or 7 of them have the same problem. Well, then you need to reinforce that point. You go through that. And then going back to my list here, again, if the students are struggling, you might be able to see that and give them a little reinforcement. Because, one of the things I've learned is that as a professor or faculty member, they might lecture and lecture and lecture, and they might just not get to a student. But you might find a video online, YouTube, again, somebody else's voice explaining the same topic, but in a different way. And the student might just click with how that person's explaining it. It might just make a little more sense. We all learn a little differently. We all intake a little differently. And that might just be that, that little voice explaining might just be a little bit better, and it might click with that student. So you always have that option too. Again, do you need to work more closely with your students? So you might have group projects going on, and you could say, okay, this group watches this video, this group watches this video, and they discuss it, and you discuss it with them. You're kind of like, the saying is, you're not the sage on the stage anymore, you're a guide on the side. So you can kind of be on the side and say, are you getting it? Now, I know this is being used greatly in STEM labs in middle schools and stuff like this. I've seen some of the STEM labs where the students watch the video actually in class, then they work on the project, and the teachers, they're kind of looking around behind them and saying, they hit the light, they have a question, and kind of just guiding them and say, okay, this is the next step. This sounds good. Look, see, this is your problem. Well, how do you think about it? So instead of, you're getting a little more one-on-one with the students, because you're going to have those students that progress a little faster, comprehend a little easier, and those students, and they're going to be good, fine, and you get those students that need the work, and you can actually work with them. The other thing is too, we're all limited in our time. You have a lot of content to put out there. So this gives you the ability to put content out there for students to view and watch. And the other thing that's great about it is they can watch it on their mobile devices. These students aren't just limited to sitting at home and watching a computer. You give them video, they can watch it on their phone, on their iPad, their Android. They can be on a bus and watch it. They can be at McDonald's eating and watching it. So they have access to it. If there's wireless to them, they can get to it and watch it anywhere. So they can be like literally sitting there eating their dinner and watching it. They can say, you know what, they're after basketball practice or something, they're stopped at McDonald's and say, hey, mom, dad, let's just sit here and let me watch this video. And they can be prepared for class tomorrow. So it gives us advantage, especially for those that are really busy. And again, it's, you want to prepare them. You've got a big topic coming up and you want to just reinforce a current one, you can just give them some extra video to watch and stuff to look at their own time. And again, if you are somebody that has labs, like I said in my example earlier, when I worked with the composite instructor, when we really got into flow and we videotaped his labs, his teaching, his level of his students' participation in the labs, they were more comfortable, they had more questions, they were more salient to the point. And the labs, he before used on a Saturday, they were he'd meet on a Saturday, it was a hybrid corner course. And when they were doing the labs, he knew you'd only get 2. Well, after he started using the method of flipping the lesson, watching these labs, the students came in, they were getting 3 done, and they were much more proficient and easier to do. And he could tell the students that weren't watching it. It was pretty easy to see those that weren't watching the video. You could pick up on that real quick. And that's why you might want to look at assessment too to see who's watching it. So now we've kind of talked about the overview of flipping the lesson. Let's go to the next part, which is starting. So when you start, now, a lot of people are like, I'm going to flip my whole course. I'm going to go through, I'm going to flip this whole year. That's a very daunting task. It's like you don't have to flip your whole curriculum at once. Just try a lesson and see how it works for you. Maybe see what, how you want to do it. Is it a screencasting? Is it a live lecture, writing on the board? What technology you have. And there's so much out there. I mean, with the you can set an iPad up to record you so you can write on the board. So you have so many more options than you did even 2 to 3 years ago. But the first thing you choose there is, like I said, you can find a video created by somebody else. And that's always nice to think about because you have different options and different voices. One of the things is I'm a big football fan, and I watch these teams go through and they say that after a while, the players start losing the message the coach is saying. And sometimes I think students lose the message that the teacher's saying. And sometimes if you put in that different voice with it, they might just say, oh, okay, wait a minute, this person's saying this part. And it's always nice too if you can bring in an expert. If you're talking about space and you want to bring out a short video clip from a scientist from NASA just to reinforce your point, you have that option. And then you have different options. Like I said, you can videotape yourself and you can screencast. And those are 2 things that a lot of people will look at, and do. I'm a big proponent of screencasting, first of all. If you'd seen, you'd be like, oh, wow, you should be screencasting, but and not on the camera. Just kidding. But you should think about it. So let's start with screencasting. That's really the one I'm going to talk about tonight. What is screencasting? It's the act of recording your computer screen in conjunction with audio to create a video. You can capture a PowerPoint presentation of your lecture to share with your students. You can explain software program or give a demonstration for your students. This is a great resource for your students. The students could watch your video over and over again. The first step is to pick up screencasting software and practice with it. So you can record your screen. You can add audio, you can do video creation. So you can sit there and record, especially with your comfort. A lot of people use PowerPoint. You can actually do, record within PowerPoint, but I'm going to show you a couple free things that you can use to do some presentations. And it's really nice especially if you're going to flip back and forth. Let's say you're talking about doing some research and you want to say, okay, you have your lecture, but you show them how to do the research. Go into Google, Google and search for it, bring some topics up. And it's nice that you can capture your whole screen and go back and forth and play with it. If you are teaching a software, a lot of people can use the software. It's a nice live example of that. There's also some apps for your iPads. If you use iPads or Androids, that you can actually do whiteboard on there. And then you can, from there, capture that while you're talking. So that's nice if you're doing math or some other stuff that you want to demonstrate. So you have many different options. Like I said, I'm more talking about what you can do with your computer, but there is also many options with apps with your iPad or Android. So you might want to look into that. Once you start getting comfortable with it, find that best software that works for you. So are there any questions so far? Again, if you have any questions, jump on the chat and I'll watch it and I'll answer it. I also apologize. I'm from the north, so I talk a little fast. I'm trying to slow myself down, take a drink of water. But I also want this to be interactive too, so I want to hear from you guys too with any questions along the way. because you might bring out something I've kind of forgotten, or I can reinforce for you, because this is what I'm trying to help you guys get a better idea of what screencasting is. All right, so if there are no questions, I'm going to move back up here for a second because I forgot to show you this video of what flipped learning is. And sorry, I really want to, this is a, sorry, like I said again, this is a little different. There we go.
I'm Aaron Sam, and
All right, I just wanted to show you that real quick. I hope I played for you. Like I said, again, I'm using a different system, but Aaron Sams is a pioneer in it, and him and his fellow chemistry teacher are, like I said, pioneers in it. I know, I mean, some people say it's been around for years before them, but they're both not teaching anymore. They become experts in it. They go around the country and give presentations and lectures on it. So, but I forgot to show that here. I want to show it to you. So now let's talk about some different softwares. My favorite, I'm a Mac person, but before I was a Mac person, I used a PC, and my favorite was Screencast-O-Matic. Now, Screencast-O-Matic is nice in the aspect that it's free. It's a web application, so you don't have to download anything. It can be used on a Mac or PC. All you need to do is go to the website, click on it, start recording, and you're ready to go. The free version has about 15-minute time limit. Record your screen, even your webcam. You have the ability to publish directly to YouTube or download as an MP4, AVI, or FLV. I recommend a MP4 movie. It also have a watermark. If you upgrade to a paid account, it used to be 15. I think it's up to 20 now. You get a lot more options, including limited editing options. But it's really nice. It's really easy to use. I've got a video there, but I'm just going to show you how to use it real easy. How easy it is to use. So you just Google it. I click on it here. And then boom, start recording. So now it's launching it. It's very easy. Okay, I got to download it. Sorry. It'll download it. But it's really easy and simple to use. It's installed on my other computer, so sorry about that. But it's all right. Well, I apologize for that. I didn't think to check it, but it's real easy to use. You just zip it up there, and you go. All right. Well, check it out in your free time. I highly recommend it. Like I said, you get your free time. It's real easy to use. You can output it the way you want to. I'm also attached a video here, so please watch that in your own spare time and see how it goes. The other option is Jing, and Jing is by TechSmith, and you get only 5 minutes with the free version, and you also have to download the app and put it on there. And it's not bad. I started off using Jing, but then after that, I went to Screencast-O-Matic, and from there, like I said, I liked it until I got my Mac, and that brings me to my final one, which is QuickTime. Now, by far, Patricia, yes, you can. If you can do some limited editing in it. I think you can like splice, and that's about it. Again, I would look at it and play with it. Not now with the Jing, you can't really do much editing with it. The paid version you can, but like I said, it's only like $15 to $20 now for the Screencast-O-Matic full version, which you have more editing version, options. So, and it comes with tutorials and support, and it's a pretty good software. All right, up to QuickTime. QuickTime is by far my favorite. It's the one easiest for me to use. For me to use QuickTime, I just, since I'm a Mac person, go on here, and then I can just, let me go to my sharing here, and I'll show my whole computer here now. See, there's me. There's my desktop. And so by sharing it, I can go over here to my QuickTime. I'm going to do File. I want to do a new screen recording. It pops up here and start it. I can say I only want to record this part of it. Start recording. And then record it. And then when I'm done, stop recording it, and you can play it. I'm not sure if you heard it, but, and don't save. Now, it's just a real basic, oh, thanks, Lindsay. So document cameras have recording as well. Okay, great. I'm glad to know about that. But again, with as I said, with the QuickTime, it's there. You click on it. You file new screen recording. You can say whatever part you want to. Start recording. And when I'm done, I just stop. And exit. And it's real easy. Like I said, now if I want to edit and everything like that, I have to drop it into iMovie, but that's also free and it gets a little more complicated. But for me, for a quick down and dirty recording, you can do it. But you have options too if you're using, I mean, there's so many options out there coming out there now that you're looking at it. So, if, you can use Snagit, which is built in. If you use Chrome, you have options there to do recording. Screencastify, you're using Google Chrome, which is you can do you record your desktop, a tab, a cam. You see my microphone. Start recording. I can do the entire screen. Cancel. So if you're a Google Chrome user, which I am, that's another option that's built in to there too. But it'll upload directly to your YouTube. So you have that option too. You can, like I said, you have options on an iPad and different things like that. If you want to look at some apps there, they're all out there for you to use. Again, like I said, when you go back to the presentation, I'm going to go back to my presentation now. Back to my presentation now. You can see I have some of those three softwares there, but there's so much more out there that you can find. And there's probably, like I said, like Lindsay said, out the document camera we'll use there. And it really depends on what your comfort level is, what you're looking to do. If you want to get in front and do a lecture, like I said, you can use your iPad, set it up. You can use a laptop. I work with the EdTPA with our undergraduates and graduate students here in the College of Education, and we have students that are setting up their laptops, and that's what they're recording their lessons for, to turn in for EdTPA or other things they need to make videos for. So they're pretty intuitive and they're figuring a way out. So, any questions so far? Okay, so let's record. Now, recording, this is just kind of some, I don't want to say best practices is the word, but some ideas and suggestions that you can use for recording. So before you pre-record, about that. We pre-record, you might want to close all your extra programs that might interfere with your recording, your email. I don't know if you heard mine ding a minute ago. I've had my email open just in case somebody was emailing me they're having a problem. But that was another email. You might want to shut it down. You don't want to have any tabs that might be popped up in case there'd be a little, notifications for other programs. But you want to just make sure that everything's set up. You want to hide your taskbar menu. You definitely don't want to have anything up that identifies who you are if you're worried about it. You already know my name. I told you that. So if you saw my name up there, it's no problem with that. I'm Jason. So your bookmarks, favorite, quick links. If you're using an internet browser, you might want to use create a generic user so as not to give away information. So if you're using software or something like that, or you're demonstrating something, you might want to create a generic account so you're really not giving away your password or anything like that. You want to keep the area as small as possible. I know that a lot of options here, you have the option just of the full computer or even just pulling a small section. The smaller you're recording, the less file size it takes up. And you want to create a script of what you'll be discussing. This is just to keep you on task. I know I'm start talking, I'm going to go off task and I'll talk about stuff and I'll go back to it, stuff like this. I'm notorious for that. But when I do a recording for professional development or for some training purposes, I write out the script so that I have it out there. So I'm going through in there, saying I want to hit this point, hit this point, this hit point. So you want to make sure you're doing that. So let's talk about the next part, your voice. I've already apologized. I talk fast. So speak clearly and enunciate words. I try to do that. Stick to the script. Add some personality, keep them engaged. Crack a joke, maybe a little bit, show some emotion. Don't just be flat, monotone, because your students are going to be engaged with that. Do use emphasis at key moments. Maybe speak a little bit or reinforce something. The one thing here that you should really do is the use of jargon or overcomplicated words. They should be kept to minimum. And I say this because your students might not be familiar with it as much as you are, but you always want to keep, don't say the complicated words. Don't make it any more complicated than you have to for them. Remember, they're learning this. They're not experts. You're not subject matter experts. They're not content experts. They're just a student who's trying to get by and get a grade and advance on. So you might want to make sure that you're always keeping it clear. I know people that like to use big words, and sometimes you just can't be that person. So one of the things about when I said add some personality, keep them engaged and stuff like this, you might also want to think about showing yourself for a minute or two. A lot of people, when they're doing videos, they'll do an introduction at the beginning where they'll show the camera of themselves on a screencast. People connect with a face and they're more likely to remember it. So just think about when you get more into this and stuff like to say, wow, I can just do like, hey, this is lesson for this, this, and this, and go on to your PowerPoint or whatever you want to do. But it's not bad to have your face there. Watch your breathing and other sounds that might make unintentional. Make sure you have a good mic that goes along with it. Try not to say a lot like I do. You might want to make sure that your dog is put away, because you say it's like you're struggling to make a point. But make sure that your dog's not there, your cat, kids, wife, husband, spouses, whatever. Make sure you're in a room that's going to be quiet and you're going to be set aside where nobody's in to disturb you, because you're trying to make that video and you don't want that distraction to come in all of a sudden. Then you have to start over and stuff like this. And it's just what you need to do. Like, I'm upstairs in my bedroom and nobody's coming here. So you're trying to keep your students engaged, so avoiding being monotone and boring about your voice. Ambient noises. I hit on this a little bit ago. Choose your nice location. Make sure your air conditioner heater, fan won't come on, and all your phones should be on silent or turn off. And make sure your pets don't bark. My dogs are in. If they're out, they will bark. So they're in downstairs. Excuse me. Where they'll bark. So, but it's just it. Now let's talk about video types. When I'm talking about video types, I'm not talking about MP4, MOV, anything like that. I'm more talking about the video itself. When you're using video in your courses, don't just stick with just one type of video. Experiment and find out the ones that will best suit your topic. And the more variety that you offer students creates a better chances you'll get your ideas across to more of them. So conceptual, overview, support content, reinforce expectation. It's your basic lecture. Procedural, more about a how-to. This video can give your students a detailed step-by-step example of a process. It can be a screencast of a program, video demonstration. Like I said, this is the procedural we used heavily with at Craven Community College with the students there and the labs. Your in-depth expertise. This is kind of where you might go outside of just your voice. You can find that NASA scientist to speak to it. There are plenty of podcasts out there, videos of experts appearing opinions and experiences, and even personal reflections. So if you're doing that topic that you can find somebody else to speak to, like I said, sometimes a different voice is nice. And you can get those recordings of an edited or unedited of an event. If you're a history professor, as a history teacher, and you want to talk about the Great Depression, you can find great video clips of of those times, video movies. You want to talk about just current events. You have those options, pull those into it. And then your evaluation activity, you can assessment of their understanding, and you can use, if you have some of the more high-end software like Camtasia, you can actually build assessment into there. And there's some apps that'll actually let you do that too, if you get to them and you play with them. So, but what I've shown you really is limited in that, but you have options beyond that. So that's just to overview kind of the video types that you want to be doing. So with every good thing in education, you need an acronym. So here's mine. WAME. It's real simple. You have the students watch the posted video, articulate, hold students accountable, mastery, beyond articulate, and should question it and engage. Follow up on the video in your class or online. So you put a video out there, you have them watch it. Then how are you going to have them articulate it? Are you going to have a quiz associated with it? There's so many options now with online. You can create a Google quiz, Google Forms to do a quick quiz after the video, which you're kind of going to be doing tonight. But then you might do mastery. So maybe they can say, okay, watch the video, question something about it, pose a question. You might even break them down into small groups and have them work with each other, and then engage. So make sure that you're following up on the video in your class or online. And I mean by this is that don't just assign it, give them some homework, and be done with it. Talk to them about it. Make sure that they're showing that mastery of it in a face-to-face session. Because they will know that if you are engaged with the video in the classroom, it is important to them. It's not just some assignment you're giving them to watch that might be on a test. It is important. It is important for their time, to give their time to that video and watching it, and you're making sure. So make sure that you engage it. Let's go content. So again, what should be in your video? What do they need to know? Zero in on your learning objectives. When laying out your content, remember that you want your students to feel that you're giving them the best material possible rather than just putting up a bunch of videos for them to watch. You want to guide them to the current and relevant material and not overwhelm them with videos and text. Ask yourself, what do they really need to know? Beware of the dreaded information dump. Don't just give them too much. Don't just say, hey, here's a bunch of videos, watch them, and we might have them on a test. Do they need to know every fact, figure, and aspect of your topic? Here's some suggested guidelines, and it's in the PowerPoint, Google Slides. Do they really know the information? Can you definitely answer yes? Rank your prioritize your content. Zero in on your learning objectives. Filter through your content to get rid of the unnecessary technical redundant information. Again, it comes to the jargon. Don't stab it there to have it. Try to keep your content varied and just do not rely on one type of media. So use a combination of video, text, graphics, images. I also let's say that I'm a really big proponent of the infographic. I like it. I like that you can do that. So you can tie in a video with an infographic and a short quiz, and you kind of hit it all off. And you can always link extra material to reinforce your content. And this material should be labeled as such. Make sure your students have the opportunity for feedback. You might figure out a better way to share your content from their input. And remember that your students have all different styles of learning and have different abilities. Make sure your content is adapted to those differences. Take it slow. Remember that you have the support staff to work with. So there's going to be people that are at your schools that can do this. They might be your IT people. I know my wife works for Craven County, and that's kind of hard to do. But I also know that there's plenty of other teachers out there that might be doing it. So you might start to reach out to your fellow coworkers and say, hey, who's doing this? Can you support this with me? And one of the things is, I don't have a slide here I meant to put in, is when you actually create your video, you want to make sure that it's in short segments. Don't just do a whole hour lecture. Don't make them watch that whole thing, because they're going to be bored. I mean, we all know that after the first 15 minutes of a class, they're zoned out to the last 5 or 10 minutes of the class. So that whole end time is is done. So you might want to take your content, and that's when it goes when you zero in on your learning objectives and say, okay, I want to learn these 3 things. I want to make 3 short videos, not just one long one. What's nice about that by doing the 3 videos is you can come back to it and say, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to change this. I like the first one, I like the third one, but the second one I need to change it. So instead of having to reshoot one whole video again, all you need to do is just shoot that segment. So then by breaking it down, you say, okay, I'm going to change it, update it, and you have that option instead of saying, oh, I have to redo this whole lecture, re-script everything like this. No, by keeping it short, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 is pushing it. I would really try to keep it at 5 minutes. And it's easier, again, if you create, 5 5-minute videos versus 1 half-hour video, or 6 5 minutes, how you want to say it is. But when you really start getting into it, you're going to realize when you start cutting out that jargon, you start cutting out those ums and those ohs, and you really know what you're talking about, it's going to cut down on your time. And I go back to my experience has been working with at Craven Community Colleges. Once that faculty member got it down, he was getting those videos down. He knew what he wanted to say, and that's why the videos were concise, compact about the specific little parts, and the students were better prepared. They knew what a wet layout was. They just worked on that. They knew what the air part was. They had that all down, and by doing it, and he worked on it, he had that. So just think about that when you're doing this. I want to cover this. Do I have to cover it all in one 30-minute, 40-minute video, or can I break it down because I can reinforce it? If you're talking about multiple people and a thing, just one short video about each person or each topic. You know your content better than I do. You're going to look at it and you're going to realize what you want to do, because we all know that you're human just as like them. You might be taking classes yourself. You might be thinking about taking a master's program or further. And we all know we just hate sitting there watching a video. But by doing it to 5-minute chunks, just remember that it's easier for them to find what they want to rewatch and do it. So just think about that. So now we come to the fun part, questions. We're coming to a close. I hope you've enjoyed it. But now, if you've got any questions, feel free to jump on today's meet, or you can email them to me, or you can you should have my email. I emailed you. You feel free to email me, follow up, because there's more than once I walked away from something like, I wanted to ask that. Feel free to get a hold of me, but just come to me with questions. So I'll sit here for the next 10, 15 minutes. If you want to, you've got the chat option there, or like Patrice is using the chat there, feel free to ask them and I'll answer them. And that way, because somebody else might be thinking it or want to know it. And if you ask the question, then I can answer it. But I also want to, again, go out to the page. Let me get to there so I can show you what you need to do. So. Oh, so some of you were talking out here too. Great. I didn't see your questions here, so I'll answer those too. So, Mary, you said that you use Screencast-Matic for PowerPoints. Well, I'm going to turn. What else can I do with another face recording of PowerPoint slides? You have, like I said, there's some apps that you can do some stuff with. You have there's some great apps if you want to add some animation to it. You can make little cartoons with them. I would look at what your iPad or Android has for those options. So again, what I want to show you is here's the please at the end of the session. You get your credit, so please make sure you do this Google form. There, Any other questions? Like I said, I'll hang out here for the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, once you complete that form, then once you go to 10 of our sessions that we're offering through the College of Education, like I said, it can be a couple of mine. I will start doing my Googles next week, but I'll also be doing social media later on. I have to add that into it if you're interested in social media. But I also know that my coworker, Holly Fales, is doing some stuff with teaching online, if that interests you. And then we also have our, from the library, Dan Zuberbeer, he is doing some stuff that he's done some stuff with your media coordinators in your schools, but he's also going to be implementing technology in your classroom. So I would look at that. So again, go to the forms down here to present to that, to get those done. But I would, like I said, feel free to look over what we're offering. And I know that we're trying to hit a lot of topics, and feel free when you fill out the form, if anything you want to see to do. One of the things I want to talk about, put in your ear, I know you'll be getting an email about it later this week, is we'll be doing an ed camp at ECU. We'll be doing it in get out of there. April 23rd. I'm looking for the flyer real quick so I can show it to you. But it will be it'll be April 23rd. It's going to be on the campus, and I will show you the flyer here. Give me a second. I found it. Like I say, here's the Ed Camp. It's an unconference designed free participant-driven professional development. Your best thing is to Google it. We will have, it's free, like I said. We'll have registration starting out. We'll have light snacks in the morning, kind of talk about what you want to see and do. And the way it goes now is it's basically 9 to 3, and if you stay there all day, you get half a CEU for the day. But your human resources, same people that sent you this stuff, will be sending out this flyer out to you a little bit later. But I highly recommend think about doing it. It's a Saturday for the morning. But if you're really into educational technology or you want to learn more, we'll hopefully have 80 or so people from around the county, from around the Latham Clinical School Network, which is Eastern North Carolina, to faculty, and from the College of Education to maybe faculty across campus and IT staff. So you'll get a lot of different views. So again, I'll hang out here for a few more minutes if you have any questions, but please do the survey, because not only does it help you to get credit for your CEU, but hopefully you'll put in information that I can think of topics that I can share with my coworkers about what you might want to learn about. And maybe you want to say, look, we heard about this great apps, or, do you want to do something with iPads, whatever you want to do, and say, look, this is something we're looking at. We've got suggestions or questions for. So again, think about the Ed Camp. Like I said, you'll get information there. It's free, and we'll give you a box lunch, and we'll give you, I don't know what the light snacks in the morning will be, but we're working on that. But our dean is our new dean, Dean Hayes, is very upbeat about this because we're again trying to reconnect with not only our alumni but other teachers out there in the Latham Clinical School Network and to see what we can do to help you. Because we know it's tough in getting professional development, and that's why I'm here. So again, if you got any questions, if not, like I said, I'll sign off here in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll hang out as long as people here have got questions. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your school year. And I hope you're glad. I know my wife is that the groundhog did not see his shadow, so there's 6 weeks less winter. How much that means. My kids are disappointed. They wanted snow. But again, just take that survey. And if you have any questions, you know my email is whitedj at ecu.edu. So shoot me an email there. Like I said, I sent you one earlier. Please reply back to if you can think later or something you want to. But please fill out that survey. And I hope you all have a really good night. People are leaving, and I've had no other questions. So again, I wish you all a good night. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast, but you all have my email if you need to get a hold of me. And please fill out the survey. So everybody have a good evening now. Good night.